Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Unpopular Review, Saw edition, as we continue to go through our Saw franchise weekly. But hey, we're going to make up for it with two episodes, one now, one a little later, rapid fire edition. But first, let's see what we're talking about today.
You think it's over just because I'm dead? It's not over. Hello, Officer Rick. You have witnessed your colleagues disappear. Tonight, I give you the opportunity to save everyone. Welcome to your rebirth. My work will continue.
That's right, Unpopular Review Entertainment. I am the exec consultant, joined today by Vic as the co-host, and we're going to talk about Saw 4 halfway through the entire series, if you ask me. Definitely the initial incarnation of Saw. This one was a step and a deviation from the original owners. However, still try to continue along what those owners try to make. Did they succeed? That's what we're going to talk about. Vic, your thoughts going into this movie?
Oh, well, after the third one, it was interesting because one thing that you start to see is a little bit more into John's past, which is interesting. Because, I mean, and I feel like this is starting a direction of more of storytelling as opposed to of just gore, if that makes sense. I think that at this point, people have really gotten into the series and want to know a little bit more about John. And I think that that's the deal here. I think that that's the main thing as far as just pushing the narrative to get people to know more about John. And then there's that you learn more about the connections to the previous two movies, as far as like everything that he was doing, which is interesting, And then the other thing is just you also get a connection to what happened in the second movie and the third movie. So like it reminds me a little bit of John Wick, where everything is just connected. However, I think that by this point there's certain things that you become desensitized to, if that makes sense. Because I really don't think it was entertaining. However, I see what you mean when you say that things start going downhill, or at least that's what everybody says. Things start going downhill because they're definitely not the same level of suspense that you had from the first movie, because you kind of have an idea as to what's going to happen, and that's why I say it's more storytelling. I think this is more for the people that are just interested in learning more about Jigsaw and just like Jigsaw as a villain, and want to see more into that. Now your mic is muted.
But this is the first movie he's dead in.
Say what?
This is the first movie he's dead in, so it's kind of hard to.
No, but the thing about it is just that he still has a whole bunch of scenes just going to the past, right? So they're consistently going to the past and consistently bringing him up and talking about all of the stuff that he's done. And mind you, he swallowed a tape in the third one that he pulled out, and then all of a sudden you play that tape and there's a continuance. He died in the third one where they could have just ended the whole thing, but they figured out a way to bring him back, and then he swallowed the thing, and then they just showed scenes that they didn't show in previous movies, but things that happened in previous movies. That's why I say this is more for people that want more into Jigsaw. And now the thing is that I suspect the rest of the Saw movies to be just Jigsaw. You know what I mean? Yeah. Kind of like people with Darth Vader, how they're all yay, Darth Vader is Elvis Presley type.
Well, Jigsaw is definitely the selling point of the movie. This can't work. And granted, you'll see in later incarnations, they're trying with someone new. But there's something about the way Tobin Bell plays Jigsaw and that voice, that creepy voice. yet at the same time so calming. Because even when he was talking to the person who was responsible for his child's death, he seemed so angry, but at the same time so calm about it. But you knew this guy was going to die. Like there was no chance. But of course, he still did not technically kill him because that's not how Jigsaw operates.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what they want to show you how the first. No, that's Saw 5. I'm getting them mixed up. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, like, 'cause his main thing is basically about giving people a chance to save themselves, but he's basically all just teaching them something where, you know, they could learn in order to save themselves, to do better or whatever. But ultimately, most people just end up dying because they can't pass whatever test or whatever.
And this one was about the SWAT team captain who was trying to save everybody, but Jigsaw was trying to teach him you can't save everybody.
Yeah.
You know, just don't react, and then everybody will survive.
Mhm.
You know, and I think I've said this to a few friends when I talk about this movie. Detective, not Hoffman, what's his name? The one that you call Marky Wahlberg's little brother or something like that. He must have had a brutal last 3 or 4 months of his life. You know what I'm saying? You know, all that led up to him getting his head like blasted in, and one of the most brutal, painful deaths I could possibly imagine. It's just really amazing. He just at this point he might just want to die. But I mean, Riggs definitely starting to go downhill. I definitely started seeing the deterioration. My biggest problem with this movie was that I feel like, you know, one thing about Freddy is that he's supernatural. Same thing. Jason didn't start off as supernatural, but they turn him supernatural. Mike Myers, they teased it at times, but he was never supernatural. Jigsaw should not be supernatural, but as many things as I see him plan and get away with at one time, because this was shot supposedly at the same time as Saw 3. Everything was happening at the same time as Saw 3. I'm like, well, how are you getting all these to be perfectly timed like this when you had time to kidnap all these people and build all these elaborate traps? It gets kind of ridiculous, but I wouldn't have it any other way. That's the reason what made Saw what Saw is today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because I certainly don't think you can watch any of these Saw movies without watching the first one, because you have to be invested into everything. And that's why I like this thing. And you know, I always get made fun of about like the sequels, but the thing about sequels is that it just extends the movie into one longer movie. And I see this more as Saw Episode 4.
Well, you definitely couldn't just dive into the third one. You know, sometimes people get asked that question, can I see this one if I haven't seen the first one? And sometimes you can answer the question, yes, you can watch this one without having seen the first one and you'll be fine. You can't say that about Saw. You have to watch it from the first one, or there's so much that you're just really missing out on, and it takes away from it. But that's Saw 4. Find out what we're reviewing next week, which is obviously Saw 5. Actually, in a few minutes, which is obviously Saw 5. Stay with us when we come back. We'll get our final thoughts. You're watching Unpopular Review.
What do you want from me?
I want to know if you have what it takes. Vengeance can change a person. Make you into something you never thought you were capable of being.
Have you learned enough to trust me?
Saw 5 coming up in a few minutes. We are on Saw 4, and Vic will start off with you. Final thoughts, thumbs up, thumbs down?
I give it a thumbs up. You know, the whole series, in my opinion, it's a thumbs up so far. Because it's a continuance of what's going on. You know, I mean, like I said before, it's not as it certainly is as gory as the other movies. But more than anything, this is more storytelling than anything else.
Definitely storytelling. I'm going to give this a thumbs up as well. I was a little bittersweet when I left out of this one because I didn't get the same feelings I definitely did out of 1 and 2 and then mostly 3. That's why I said it starts going downhill. But looking at it, it's still pretty good. It still had a lot of good scenes. Still had a lot of good death scenes. I did like a lot of the traps, and I did like Riggs the way he was trying to say, "Hey, even set him up for the traps." I thought that was really, really good. But yeah, not as good as 1, 2, and 3, but definitely still a Saw. Still gets a thumbs up for me, and plus it beats other criteria. So just gotta throw that in there. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us. It's Saw 4. This might be the shortest episode of UPRE in history, but rapid fire because we got to do a double header. We're going to do Saw 5 for you in a couple minutes. Thank you so much for watching. That's for Vic. I'm the Exec Consultant, and we will see you in a few minutes right here on Unpopular Review. Needed the Saw theme music.